and it's actually not just Ichaba. It's Chabafana, Javana, Kiawanike, Savanana.
Translated in different languages?
You can go as far as you can, okay?
Okay.
So our agenda is to usher in a new generation of leadership. If you've noticed, since 91, we've recycled basically the same old ideas from the same type of people. Albert Einstein tells us that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that's what Zambia has been doing since 1991. So we thought to ourselves, okay, how about we bring in some new ideas? The world is changing. This is 25 years into the 21st century. We cannot operate on minds that were leading us in the 80s and the 90s. Things change, dynamics change. So we thought to ourselves, okay, innovation, who carries innovation? The young people. This country right now needs innovative minds, and the young people have innovation. The only challenge we've had is that we haven't had a vehicle to come into leadership positions until now. That's what the movement for good governance is. It's about offering good governance meant for the 21st century.
When you say that, does this mean that this good governance that can come in with the young people, as the name entails, Ichaba, is this to replace the older people that are already in these positions, or are you working around coexisting in the political field?
Okay, so now there's this misconception that Ichaba hate old people, or we don't want anything to do with them. No, that is not true. What we believe is this: the young people should do the legwork. They should do the heavy lifting when it comes to governance. The older generations, they have experience and the wisdom, okay? So they come in as advising where we are, I would say, where we may not know, because you will never know everything. And when you are new at something, there's some nuts and bolts you still need to tighten up, okay? As young people, we still need advice from our elders. We still need to know how to do certain things. Okay, we still need to know how to go about it, because not everything requires a modern solution. Sometimes you may have to use old-fashioned ways to solve certain problems. Like when I came here, now there were discussions that how maybe the repatriation, you get elders together for the repatriation of the body, maybe that could have a better way of negotiating and being handled. If you bring old people to come into this matter rather than just a bunch of lawyers, because sometimes lawyers may be too aggressive for a moment. That seems to carry emotions, right? So you see, that requires people with wisdom, elders, to solve certain problems. As young people, sometimes we may have all these grand ideas, but in executing them, we cannot just execute them with modern solutions all the time. We may need some subtlety, because you see, being youthful, you have tremendous energy, you have lots of energy. Sometimes it's not energy that you need to fix a certain problem. Sometimes it's that patience which the elders may have, that knowledge, that know-how. So the movement for good governance is also, we believe in coexisting with the elders. But we are simply telling them, look, you cannot be in office for 25 years. It's just not right. You should be tired by now, right? Yeah.
Speaking of, this fusion between the young and the old, some critics believe that this is a movement that is being spearheaded by the Patriotic Front. How do you, or that this is an extension, rather, of the Patriotic Front? What is your reaction or your response to that?
Okay.
Or even when people phrase it that how are you a young people movement when you're funded by the very older generation? That means that you'll be controlled, is what some would say.
Okay, funded by the older generation. All right, so here's one thing I'll tell you. We are at a time in a country where everybody that is against the current regime is labeled as PF. Not sure how we got to this part or to this point in our country, where we are now starting to behave like a two-party system, or a two-party.
Well, based on history, that's just how things
yes,
have been.
but
it's either
here's
you're
the
for
thing.
or the strongest opposition
That's
party.
true, yes. But now at this point, anyone now that is just against, no, you're PF, or they suspect you're being funded by PF, okay? Here's one thing we all know that is true. Honorable Mweetwa Mpundu, the founder and the president of the movement, was PF. But guess what? He ran independent in 2021. That's how he got that parliamentary seat. If he was PF, do you think he would have stood for MP? He is still, he still has ties with PF because he worked with them. But that does not mean he's now under the PF banner. No, we have a movement. He is the president of that movement. And that movement will soon turn into a political party. Does that mean it's still PF? Because PF is still around, isn't it?
Well, it depends on the kind of influence, maybe. One would refer to influence, the type of people that are part of this party or this movement that you're saying. Because look, if you have a number of people that have been associated with the Patriotic Front steering this movement, surely for the people looking outside in, would you blame them for assuming that this movement is the Patriotic
No,
Front?
I wouldn't blame them, but here's one thing I would tell them, okay? We have, this movement has everyone from everywhere. Even the UPND, certain people are there, but right now they're just, wait, photo mlekopa, I cannot be in that photo. Not now, okay? So the PF, because you see, people from the opposition are comfortable engaging with us, being seen in photos, you know, they don't have to hide. We are from the opposition, we're basically on the same side. But the ones from the ruling right now, they're incognito, as you can. So if you start seeing them, are you going to claim, they're now working with UPND? Our movement embraces everybody, but you have to be on the agenda. If you believe in our agenda and you happen to be UPND, you're welcome. We will not stop you.
Do you think this movement could be a threat to the UPND's youth movement? You've got the media director who's saying he's not bothered by your movement, but you know this is a very youth-led movement, and you're saying, look, we are across the board. It doesn't matter where you're coming from and so on and so forth. But do you think that this movement is a threat to the youth threshold of the UPND?
It is a threat, and I'll tell you why. Here's the thing. First of all, we've been having a few attacks, okay? One thing I'll tell you is this: if your opposition or your opponents don't believe you're an actual threat, they'll never recognize you. We have been recognized. We have been now, they're poking at us. We don't, you see, the movement here, we don't poke at the UPND as the party. We just poke, we poke at them, or rather criticize them as an administration because they're in power now. But we don't go poking on their character, trying to mock who they are, their personality. But they've been doing that lately, and we've just been quiet. So that is not something coming out of nowhere. Nobody just starts poking at somebody you're not aware of or you're not bothered by. Here's the thing. They are simply just projecting. And to us, when Mr. Maximo made those sentiments, we were very happy because we knew, like, okay, so we're an actual threat, which is why we were told, Mr. Simo said, what did he say? I'm trying to paraphrase here, that we're not an actual threat, okay? Well, here's the thing.
You like proper leadership, there's all the structure.
Yeah, sure. We've been having we've been building towards this, okay? We cannot announce each and every build-up we make, but we are making significant progress. Just a few days ago, Honorable Mweetwa Mpundu had announced that we have an SG now. There are other people that are coming in that others didn't know, but we're in the background. This is now when we are just putting out what we've already been formulating or working on for months now. Okay, I could even say a year, but it has been just a gradual process. It's not that we are just we're just going around like headless chicken. That's not the case. We cannot just start spewing each and every significant progress to everybody. I mean, I don't believe the UPND would tell us every plan that they are working on right now. They go. Maybe they would, since Mr. Maximo makes 300 press briefings a day. He would, but at the end of the day, Mr. Simwe recognizes that we are the largest youth movement in this country, and the UPND administration understands that their winning formula in 2021 is not going to work in 2026. Why? Because they've fallen out of favor with the youths. The youths are with us now. So the question that they should be asking themselves is, what are they going to do next? Because we are here and we are here to stay, and no one is going to derail us.
Okay. And speaking of which, there's structural setups that you are speaking into. Is this in readiness for 2026
Yeah.
as a movement?
Yes, we are prepared for 2026, and we are preparing for it, actually. This time we are all in. We're not going to walk on eggshells. We already know what the agenda. We are going there, and we are going to 2026 as serious contenders. Even
when
though
you say
Mr.
serious
Mark,
contenders, so
yes,
this is for the presidential, members of parliament,
councillor, as well as mayoral, yes,
Okay.
everything, the whole 9 yards.
Do you think you have enough time? I mean, today, significant date, 12th August,
Yes.
exactly 4 years ago, we were voting. And we would say in exactly a year we'll be voting.
Yes.
Do you think you have enough time to win the people over? I mean, those are huge aspirations for general elections. We're talking on all levels of leadership. I mean, from the very highest office onto these other offices on parliamentary level, ward councillor as well. Do you think this is enough time to win the people over by August next year?
Yes, it is. Here's why. I'll tell you it's enough time. Because this is not just when we've started working, okay? We've actually been mobilizing and being on the ground for the past 2 years. We were just not really loud about it online, okay?
Were you not loud about it, or you just had no significant names backing you to say, okay, this movement...
No,
have
not really.
some
Here's the thing, okay? You have to have a strategy. Right now, I would say we have a very hostile political atmosphere, okay? Everybody that speaks out is either getting persecuted, arrested, threatened, so on and so forth. So you have to work incognito. We've been working under the radar. It's just that's when we've sprouted. People would think we are actually new. We are actually nearly 3 years old, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years old, okay? We've been working on the groundwork, talking to people, understanding what they want, what they need, what their disappointments and frustrations have been, okay? And then from there, we've been mobilizing, slowly but surely. And then now, it just broke out. We didn't even come out to scream louder. People just started hearing it, okay? On Youth Day, this Youth Day, just Ndola, okay? Ndola, we had a march past of 14,700 youths. 14,700 youths in Ndola Central. Whilst the UPND had 6,000. That should tell you something. That's the ruling government, by the way, okay? And for a movement that is seemingly, yeah, we're still young, given that the other parties have been there for quite some time. But that already shows you that we've been gaining momentum. We just didn't scream loud about it until now, when we're like, okay, I think we are ready to do some significant work. And we believe we are, I would say, we are strong enough now than we were 2 years ago to actually say, you know what, 2026 is the time frame that we have set for ourselves. Otherwise, we are ready for 2026, and we are big enough.
When you say a youth-led movement,
Yeah.
I'd like you to paint a picture for me. And I ask this because we have 55-year-olds that think they're part of the youth when they're not.
Okay,
So what does this youth movement look like? What are people going to be seeing, you know, even as they go to the polls? Will they see will the youth see a reflection of themselves on these ballots?
yes, under the movement they will, and here's why. You see, in politics, okay, 55 and below is considered young in politics. Let's say right now, the average age of a president on the African continent is 65 years and up, okay, not down, and up, okay? For the first time, we'll be having a chance to have a president that is lower than 50 years in age, okay? That's youthful, all right? if you look at the Commonwealth description of a youth, is actually 45 and below. Okay, so the people that are in their 40s, below 45 and below, they're still considered young and youthful. It's like how in football we see somebody who's 30 years old, is too old. But we all know when we look at life, 30 years is not really that old. Okay, so in politics, if you are 55 and below, you are considered young. But here's the thing, we have a lot of youths, the ones that we are all accustomed to, Wafana, really young, under the movement, who will be running for, I can give you one, Christopher Kangombe Jr., under the movement, not the MP, but Christopher Kangombe Jr., who will be contesting for Ndola Central. He's 29. I'm 32 and I'll be contesting for Chabota. We have one that is, we have another youth, okay, that is 23, and he'll be contesting for councillor for Kabulonga. So the demographic, I guarantee you, will be much younger than the ones we have currently, who are in their 40s. A councillor is 50, a councillor is 65. When we know to be a councillor, you have to be at least 19. But some people are councillors at 55. Then when will a 19-year-old or a 25-year-old get that chance?
What does the movement also look like for women representation? I know this, again, is a very heavy conversation.
Yes,
The majority of the voter are women, after all. So, you know, what does also structure look like where women is concerned? The women representation, the voice of women within this youth-led movement.
Okay, here's one thing I'll tell you, okay? First of all, we are going to definitely be different from how things have been in the past. The only thing I've said, this is not an attack to the women. There is a bit, I don't know whether it's fear, maybe you could help me out. With ladies, you only come out when things are kwashara kwa kashitaka nono. Some of the ladies will come out
calmer, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the ladies, you rarely come out like guys. You know, as guys, we
The iron lady,
yeah,
that's maybe what you're looking
iron
for.
lady, yeah, we are looking for those. They're there, but you see, when you look at the female youth, okay, they're still skeptical. I think it has to do with the environment, okay? When people, we had a lot of women that were coming in to contest under the banner of Ichabaije. Then what happened is, you remember that spring we had where people were just getting arrested for whatever they were saying online? There was that time, late last year, as well as early this year. And the ladies, when people started getting arrested, and some of us who were speaking out were like, oh my goodness, very soon it might be me next. The women started kind of backing out a little bit. Okay, so basically it's not because the women are not there. No, it's just the environment is too hostile for certain women. Yes, there are those, like you would say, they'll say anything. Then there are those who, they're not really the aggressive type, but they are very intelligent and they could lead. But they also don't want the drama of back and forth, getting arrested, you know, all sorts of things. So they sit in the background. But I am hoping in the next coming few days or weeks, they should now be confident enough and be ready enough to say, okay, you know what? I think we shall not live in fear. We shall not be scared of being arrested. This is our country. We have democratic rights, and we will stand out. Otherwise, women are in the movement. You will see them very soon.
Well,
I hope you could join them.
Well, I've hosted women on different platforms actually speak into women in leadership positions, and it's usually fear of what the political field looks like is what makes many women skeptical of actively getting into politics. That and many other attributions that have been brought out on these various platforms.